What do you think about the boss babe phenomenon, Rachel? What do you think about that?
I think it's all a huge farce. I think it's all a mirage. It doesn't exist. I think that women thinking that they're boss babes is pie in the sky silliness. I think it's a result of 100 years of feminist propaganda, and that a lot of women really buy into it because it's in everything, right? Every pop star, every singer, every rapper, every movie star, every TV show you've watched since you were a little kid tells you that you can be an ass-kicking chick. You can take out all the bad guys in the movie, like Roundhouse kicking their ass when you're 90 pounds. That you can, be a CEO and do all the things the men do, and it's going to work out for you the same way it works out for them, and that's just not reality. So I actually have a book I wrote about the history of feminism and how that all happened. But yeah, it's made women pretty miserable. All the surveys we've done on women since the 1970s show that they're like far unhappier by every metric we can measure than they've ever been. Higher rates of alcoholism, drug abuse, mental illness, loneliness, childlessness. We have a birth rate collapse. Women now are saying they can't find men on their level because they'll go to college for 4 to 8 years. They'll get a degree. They'll start their career. And then they'll hit 32. They want to settle down with a guy, and they're like, well, he has to make more than me, and he has to be a foot taller than me, and he has to be all these things. But by the time you're in your mid-30s, those guys have already picked girls that are in their early 20s who are going to give them a bunch of kids and stuff like that. So women have all these expectations that are not realistic. They get out into the world as adults. Things don't match up, and they're like, what's wrong? I don't understand what's happening. I don't know what's wrong. I did everything I was supposed to do. I went to college. I have a career. I look really pretty. I have all the extensions and the fake tan and the fake boobs, and I did all the things. Why are things not going how I expected? And I think it's because we tell them that they can be like men, and we're not like men, so.
I have a question. So, do you not think women can be successful on their own career-wise and still have a happy marriage and meet someone good, around their same social circle?
It depends on what you mean by successful. Are there some women who achieve that? Sure, they're out there.
Do you not so you don't agree that women should be successful on their own? You just think that they need to depend on a man and get married young?
That's a false choice that you're creating. You're saying either I have to be completely dependent on my man and never do anything with my life, or I have to be successful on my own first and then find somebody. Mm-hmm. I think we give women backwards advice. I think that it's biological reality that you have a limited fertility window in your life where it's best for you to have children between the ages of about 20 to 35, right? You got about 15 years where it's the best time to have kids and when you're going to be able to have the most kids. So if you spend all of your 20s going to college and building a career and you don't even think about settling down until you're 30, which I think you had said that. You said, basically, I'm going to wait until all my eggs are pretty much gone and then I'll think about getting a husband when I'm at the end of my fertile years. It's not that you can't get pregnant in your later 30s or even your early 40s, but it gets harder and harder. You have higher risk of complications. And if you have your first one when you're 35, you might have one more in most cases, and that's it. And that's the main reason that we only have 1.6 births per woman in this country and in most developed countries around the whole world now. Because women are waiting. The average age that a woman gets married now in the U.S., I think, is 31. Mm-hmm. It used to be 22. But the average first age of birth is 29, and it used to be 23. So
cooking, man.
I have a quick question. Mm-hmm. Why do you think women are waiting?
Because they're told that they have to have their own money. They got to have their own. You got to have your own career, your own money, and then you look for the guy. And what happens is, some of you guys here say that you're virgins, and that's awesome. If you're virgins, that's great. I approve. But most women do not. Most women go to college, and they run through a whole ton of guys, right? By the time they hit 30, let's say you only sleep with 2 guys a year on average. Let's say you lose your virginity at 18. Pretty late for most women, but let's just say 18, and you go till you're 30. That's 12 years. If you only have an average of 2 bodies a year, you're up to 24 guys by the time you're 30, and you're in your 30s. And now you're going to look for a husband? It's just backwards advice. So I always say, have your family first. Put your family first, because you only have a limited amount of time to do that. Then you might be like me and you're 44 and all your kids are grown. You've already done all of that. And now you can be doing other things. You've got a lot of years left. I have hopefully 30 more years to do other things. I got to have my family. So.
You cannot bring a child and start a family if you have no safety net, if you have no job, no career or anything, and you're just gonna selfishly bring in a child into this world to suffer because you have no safety net and you have no money, and now you have to provide.
We went to the worst possible scenario, though.
But that's really what happens.
That happens
But they don't have to, though.
very often.
Yes,
You'd be
real
very
quick.
surprised.
Wait a sec, real quick, Chair 5, were you going to say the same thing? Did you have the same objection?
No, I was gonna say you're saying that how people women wait. I actually think that because of this generation, I think women have a mindset where they choose not to have children until they meet the right guy. It's not for me, I don't want children, but who knows? You know what I mean? Who freaking knows where I'm gonna be at, or mindset wise when I get married. I don't want to get married, but you don't know what's gonna happen. So personally, I don't want children ever.
Okay.
But so it's not me waiting. It's just
Having a family is a very permanent decision, and it takes a lot of responsibility. And if you're 20 and you are not going to college, you don't have a job, and your only thing in your head is, I need a family, your priorities are completely out of whack.
Can I say something?
I want to respond to Bangs really quick, because what she just said, that is the brainwashing I'm talking about. That's the propaganda that I'm talking about. For all of human history until 50 years ago, maybe 40 years ago, people did things the way I did it. People did the way I'm recommending. Everyone had their children at 18, 19, 20, 22 years old. Everyone got married young. It worked for thousands and thousands of years, and now suddenly you're going to tell me that doesn't work. No, of course it works.
Not in this
Of course it
economy,
works.
girl.
yeah, no.
Y'all not thinking about it.
No,
How do you think the economy got this way? Because we were able to raise kids on one income for all of human history until, again, 40 or 50 years ago. What changed? What changed in the 70s that made it so that you need two incomes now to survive? What do you think it is?
Pricing, literally everything's more expensive now.
Nope. Wrong. It's not that. We've had much higher periods of inflation.
Okay. Can I say
The reason
something?
it happened, this is like my field of research. I can tell you exactly why it happened.
Can I
The
put
reason
my
it
own
happened is
experiences on top of what you're gonna say? Literally, my mom is almost 70 years old, and she has literally 12 children. Yeah, 12 children. Same mom, same dad, and she has 12 of them. And on her own, she would not have been able to do it. Why? Because yes, she's a lot older, and she did believe, oh yes, I need a family, I can do this, everything. But yes, we did grow up and struggle, and my mom still tells us that she preferred that she never had children, simply because she made our life, our entire lives were shit. Our entire lives were shit.
Wait, hold on. Your mom told you she would have preferred
and she said
to not have you.
all of us, because the life that she
big
gave us.
yikes.
No, because the life that she gave us was so bad. She couldn't give us a good life for all of us.
The quality of life is important.
No, she had my dad.
And they both worked?
Okay.
Yes, and they worked, and even though, I was born in 2001, my mom was still struggling with 2 house incomes with the economy that we live in now. So for me to say, my mom literally, it feels like she feels bad for us, how she couldn't provide more for us than she really wanted to, with 2 incomes. So.
But at the same token, then you have to take accountability of what you can possibly do. If 2 parents know they can't afford to do
That's
things.
exactly what I'm saying.
No,
and that's
hold
exactly
on.
what she's brainwashing.
Hold on. That's not what she's saying. She's saying that they have what it takes to take care of the children they have. If you know that you financially with 2 people are not strong enough, no offense.
No.
Why would you have 12 children?
No, that's what I'm saying. They were, but they were. I'm telling you, when time went on, when my mom got older and she had more children, the economy worsened, where things became more expensive.
12 children. That's a lot of children.
Rent came up. Mind you, my oldest sibling is as old as she is. That's my older brother. My brother's
listen,
45 years old.
You don't need to have
listen,
children at 20. You can wait until you are more secure and you have
She
you're
already
stable.
explained
But she explained
Sure.
why. See, what y'all are talking about is emotion. She's talking about.
She's literally, she's
You gotta
not
let
saying
me
that we
finish.
shouldn't
you
wait.
need to be you need to be prepared to have a family. You can't just bring in
Yeah,
a
but
family.
And she's calling us brainwashed.
Can I?
Hold on.
She did call us
Go ahead.
brainwashed.
Go ahead, Rachel.
Can I
Go ahead.
Okay. I'm not putting you down by saying you're brainwashed. You literally have been propagandized to go to college and not have kids. This is a purposeful thing that they did. It was a top-down deal. Book explains everything. We don't have time to go into that now. But all throughout history, people have been poor. Poverty is a reality. It's never going to completely go away. There will always be poor people. And by the way, the only people who are still having kids above replacement level are the poorest people in the world. People aren't not having kids because they don't have money. That people think that it's not true. The richer people are the ones not having any kids. The poor are still having more children. I'm not saying that that's good, but what I'm saying is that you absolutely can have a family on the younger side, and that if we didn't have every single woman working in the workforce, this is why it's not affordable. In the 1970s, the government pushed women into the workforce. It was a CIA program. There was federal funding behind it to push women into colleges and universities, to give them grants to go to school, to give them loans to go to college. And so all the women entered the workforce in huge numbers in the 1970s, and it created, there's my cat, a depression in wages. So men's wages have completely stagnated, and no, you really have a hard time having a family on one income anymore. That's not the way things are supposed to be, and it was never like that until we pushed women out of the home and into the workforce. That is the primary cause of the two-income economy. So people could have families. They could get married young if we had women being responsible, if we encouraged women to maintain their chastity, to not go to college. For like, none of you guys.
So only men have a
Hold on.
chance
Hey,
in this
stop,
world
stop,
and
stop.
women don't? Is
Hold
that
on.
what you're saying?
Thanks.
Only men can go to college and women can't?
Do you
Hold
mind if I
on.
speak
I'm
up?
Lady, you're
I'm saying-
brainwashed.
Hold on.
No, I'm not.
Here, you
For
got-
the sake of families. Not everybody wants to have a damn family.
Hold on. You got
that's a problem.
here, Rachel. I'm gonna have you finish. Then you wanted to come in. Then Eric wanted to come in. Then you can go. Go ahead.
Okay, so the problem with your thinking here is who's going to have the babies? And I know you're all going to say, we don't care, we don't care. If I don't want babies. I don't want a family. I don't care about that. I did a big rant on the last time I was on about why collapsing birth rates are going to force us back into the dark ages if we're not careful. We are on the edge of population collapse. And you're going to be offended, and that's okay. I understand the reaction. But none of you have a degree in anything that's worth a shit. You have degrees in stuff like theater, communications. Women get degrees in stuff like psychology, interior design, HR management, all this kind of nonsense. Okay? The men are the ones that do all the really important essential functions in the world. They build all the infrastructure, they do all the engineering. Men still occupy all the dirty, dangerous, and difficult jobs. Most women have jobs that are cushy and could be done by men easily, and used to be done by men who were like entry level in the workforce or other men that had the same skills. Women also have kept the same jobs for the last century. You've all had the opportunity to do whatever you want. You could have been engineers, could have worked for NASA, could have been building rockets with Elon, you could have been working on oil rigs, you could have been timber logging people. You don't want to do that. You want a cushy office job, you want a paper pushing desk job that anyone can fill. It would be better if we encouraged women to be mothers and have families. Now, I'm not saying everyone has to have 5 kids or 12 kids, but I'm saying we need more than 1.6 children per person, or you're going to run into what's happening in places like South Korea, Japan, and Canada, where they have such an imbalance in the population of older people. There's not enough younger people to support the older people who are still living, and that's going to be all of you. All of you are probably going to live into your 80s, and you won't have kids to take care of you, and there won't be a younger generation that can support you in your old age and pay for your medical care and everything that you're going to need when you're too old to work. And this is a real problem. It's a very serious problem. The UN has been projecting this for decades. World leaders are trying to figure out what the hell to do about it. It's a serious problem. So for all of you to sit there and go, well, I want to be a psychologist and I'm going to chase my dream and to hell with the future. It's like, okay, but that future is your future too. So it's very short-sighted to sit here and be like, well, whatever, I'm just going to do what I want when I'm young and fuck whatever happens when I'm older. You guys don't realize there's a lot of life after 40. What if you're alone for 45 years? You know, what if there's no infrastructure to support you in your old age? So it's not just about you. There's a society to think about too.
You wanted to come in? Go
Yes,
ahead.
please. So, first of all, I was not expecting to talk about this when I came in on the podcast today, so I'm kind of glad we are. And thank you for saying my accounting degree was shit, but I'm going to move past that. It's okay. Totally understand. First thing is, I did want to address how you talked about the propaganda of pushing a double income household, right? So
Pushing women into work
Pushing
and telling
women
them
into
that
work.
motherhood is for losers who can't hack it in the career world.
Yeah. So I wanted to talk about that, which I'm not going to agree or disagree on that because that was before my time. I could do more research on it, but since I'm not an expert, I'm not going to speak too strongly. But for the current day and age, if I want to get a house in California and stay here, I will have a double income household. I do not want to subject my children, if I do have any, to live in a situation where they can't feel supported. They can't go for their dreams that they want. If they want to pursue a degree, they can. If they want to work in an oil rig, they can. My roommate also does engineering, and she works at oil rigs at like 6 a.m., goes out to check it. But going back to what I'm saying is, which is good for her, I couldn't do what she does because I do accounting. But sorry, I'm digressing. So going back to the double income family, I think a lot of women right now, to this day, do want children, but they can't financially support it. And while they do want to have it now, because I do know that if I wait until I'm 35, obviously my body, there's going to be a lot more risks, a lot more complications. I have coworkers who are 35, 36 who had to do, I think, what's it called?
IVF.
IVF, yeah. And they've had to go through a lot for that. But
it's a lot.
Yeah, it's really bad. But I think one of my coworkers lost a toe. But going back, they wouldn't be able to support their kids unless they were fiscally prepared. Because the husband and the wife both work full-time jobs, and then they both come home and take care of the kids as well, and they kind of switch it off too. But they wouldn't be able to pay for mortgage, for their bills, for the kids' tuition, who has autism. So extra lessons on top of that, and behavioral lessons, everything. So I think while it might be possible in the Midwestern states to still have that dream of having kids early and being physically prepared for it, I think it's a lot difficult where we are here, and that's why we have the opinions we have right now, is because we want to stay in California and raise our kids in California.
Okay, but this is the thing, right? I didn't say it was going to be easy because we are in the mess we're in. And I totally understand it. It's not like Andrew and I didn't struggle. We did. It was hard. We had to make a lot of sacrifices. We didn't take vacations. We never bought new cars. I didn't even dream of buying name brand makeup or anything like that. And we did have to move to a small rural town to make it work and things like that. I'm saying if we change the trajectory, we could make it so that this is workable again for people. And I do understand that right now it's very hard. There's one big silver lining though, which is that with the internet, a lot of people, in fact, they're saying 40% of all jobs in North America will be remote by the year 2030. So there is a good opportunity for a lot of women to work more part-time-ish hours from home and probably still make some money. There's a lot of things you can do on the side. I used to do firearms instruction on the weekends because I could teach a class and make $1,000. So you might have to find some solutions. You might have to find some workarounds. I'm not saying it's evil for women to work. I'm not saying you should never have a job or that you shouldn't be educated. I'm saying you can get educated without college. That's one. There's a lot of ways to get a good paying job without having to go to a university and take on what most women take on, which I think is an average of $60,000 in debt, which is another thing that prevents people from wanting to get married and have kids. You start your life in a ton of debt. And women are now the primary debt holders in this country because of their college debt. And so, of course, they're not going to have as many kids. So I'm saying, on an individual level, I understand you have to work with the world you were born in. I did too. There was plenty of times where I had to work when I was young, and I hated it. And it's primarily how I started doing my research, because I was like, how did it get like this? How did it get so hard for me to just be a mom and stay home and raise my kids myself? And that's the only other thing I really want to say, is that we all talk about what women want and what's good for women and whether they should be able to have careers and motherhood at the same time, but nobody ever talks about the kids.
It's so tough.
Nobody ever talks about the fact that almost every child now is raised in daycare and public school. They spend 8 to 10 hours a day with public school people, daycare people. They see their mom for like 2 hours a day. And what no one ever tells you guys is that 95% of the time you'll ever get to spend with your kids is gone by the time they turn 18. And you don't ever get that time back. You can't go back and redo it. You don't get a second chance. So I do think the situation is super fucked up. And I do feel bad for women, which is why I wrote the book, which is why I have my own YouTube channel, which is why I have a Substack. Now that I do have the time, that's what I want to do, is help people who do want to be moms, help women navigate this like awful this awful world where it's like, what do I do? I feel like I lose no matter what I do. But
I have a question. Do you mind if sorry to interrupt for that. So I'm going to just give a very specific example. So say it's me, I'm like 27-ish. My income is like a little under $100,000 a year. I still won't be able to afford mortgage, even if I get a partner that matches my income. And my like daily monthly expenses aren't too high. I have a fully paid off car. I don't really shop a lot. I don't plan on getting a new car or a new house or anything. But how would I go about spending or staying or becoming a full-time mom and staying at home if the only daycare I can afford is sending my kids to public school for that certain amount of time while I work or while it's working hours?
Yeah, see, that's the thing. There isn't going to be like a good, happy answer. To be honest, if we could live in California, we would. Andrew's from there. We love like the actual state, it's beautiful there. The weather's great. There's lots of great opportunities. It's too damn expensive. And so we had to pick. Either we can have a family or we can live in California. His parents also moved because they couldn't afford it. You're probably going to have to make tough decisions and sacrifices if being a mom is important and raising your kids yourself is important. So you might have to change some stuff. Like, I was expected to go to college. I had scholarships. I was always a smart kid. And everybody thought I was throwing my life away. Oh, it's such a shame. She's throwing her life away. And I had nobody supported me. My parents didn't support me. The people around me didn't support me. Everybody thought I was making a terrible decision, but I would never go back and change it now because I got to have 5 kids. I got to raise my kids. We're all really close. And now that I'm older, I do have a lot of time to build a career if that's what I want to do, or to work and do things like that. And I'm glad I made the sacrifices when I was young and energetic, and there was time to do that stuff. Whereas if I had waited, I probably wouldn't have had choices at all. You know what I mean? So it sucks that you guys have this shit sandwich to like, do you want the shit sandwich or the shit taco? It's like you don't have any like great choices because this world is not set up for you to have families and careers and everything. You can have it all, but you can't have it all at once. You know, life has a lot of phases for women. We're not like men. Men can just grow up, start their career, and spend the rest of their life building their career. And they do have to be dads, and they have to learn how to balance that. But it's not the same thing as going through pregnancies and having infants and trying to breastfeed and all of that. So you're going to have tough decisions, and you got to decide what's most important and what you're willing to sacrifice to have that. So,
yeah. Thank you.